Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning. It's Chris Hand. Mac Morey producing. Ken Weaver in the newsroom. Phone lines are open for you as well as the Super Text line at 615-737-9986. So much happening last night. Oh, my gosh. We got the Tucker stuff to go over today. He's interviewed Putin. Ah! 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 That's
panic.
That's my best CNN impression. Okay, he interviews Putin. It wasn't a big deal when the AP interviewed Putin in 2013, or when Bloomberg interviewed Putin in 2016, or when Showtime interviewed Putin in 2017, or when NBC interviewed Putin in 2017, or when NBC interviewed him again in 2021, or when CNBC interviewed him in 2021. But now it's, we can't keep letting Tucker get away with this. So we're going to dig in on all that. Plus, we've heard that Ronna McDaniel will be stepping down as the RNC chair after the South Carolina primary. Oh, it was all good just a week ago for Ronna McDaniel. She was living the high life. She was basically Ric Flair of the Republican Party. You know what I mean? Limousine riding, private jet flying, Ronna McDaniel. Now she's heading to the unemployment line. We also have the failed impeachment vote of Mayorkas, which is a doozy. But I do want to start with what happened last night in Nevada. Nevada. Oh my gosh. Nevada's a confusing state. So last night, if you didn't hear, there was a Republican primary in Nevada. On Thursday, there's going to be a Republican caucus in Nevada. Nikki Haley was on the primary ballot. Trump is going to be on the caucus. And Nikki Haley's team, they were looking towards this Republican primary to kind of use it as a win. They wanted it to be a big win for the team. Trump wasn't on the ballot for the Republican primary. So they looked at it as kind of a layup drill. It was going to be an easy win for Nikki Haley and something that they could celebrate. Coming in first in Nevada. Unfortunately, though, last night in Nevada, much like Iowa, the voters made it a two-person race.
Iowa made this Republican primary a two-person race.
Except the two-person race last night was a loss for Nikki Haley. And she didn't lose to Donald Trump. She lost to none of these candidates. Yes, you heard me right. On the Nevada primary ballot choice, we had Mike Pence, Tim Scott, Nikki Haley, and a fourth option, which was none of these candidates. And none of these candidates won. The option for none of these candidates took 61% of the vote. Nikki Haley took 32% of the vote. It is embarrassing. Now, again, Nevada holds both a primary and a caucus. The winner of the caucus, which is going to be held Thursday, is the one who takes the state delegates. Trump is going to win that caucus. But Nikki Haley looked at this primary last night as a way that she could twist and bend the narrative into a win. And Mac, I know you were on the phone, but Nikki Haley surged to second place, losing to none of these candidates.
The surge continues.
Without Trump even on the ballot.
Wow.
Nikki took 32% of the vote in the primary. None of these candidates took 61% of the vote. So
it's like no one or Nikki Haley, which is really
like is Biden an option? The voters wanted to know. Candidates were given the option to participate in either the primary last night or the caucus, which was scheduled by the Nevada Republicans on Thursday. Trump is engaging in the caucus. That's where the allocation of the state's delegates will take place. But the Haley camp wanted this to be their symbolic victory. And she lost to none of these candidates. None of these candidates. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
Yeah,
Now,
how's she going to spin this?
I don't know how you spin it. I said maybe she'll spin it the way she spun Iowa.
Iowa made this Republican primary a two-person race.
It's me versus none of these candidates. Politico wrote an article, and the headline, I didn't read the article, but the headline caught my eye. It said, "Worse than you can imagine. Haley loses to none of these candidates in Nevada." Nikki Haley suffered a major embarrassment in Nevada on Tuesday, finishing far behind none of these candidates in a presidential primary in which Donald Trump didn't even compete. Haley's second place drubbing to none of these candidates in an otherwise no-stakes primary that will not award delegates to the Republican Party's presidential nominating convention is embarrassing. Trump is expected to get all them delegates on Thursday in the party-run caucus. But for Haley's allies, Politico writes, Tuesday's setback, she has not yet won a single state in the presidential primaries. They were going to spin this, and now they can't. I almost feel bad for Nikki Haley. It's getting to the point where, it's like, guys, she's learned her lesson. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You ever see a fist fight and there's somebody's just down on the ground still getting pummeled?
Yeah,
and
still getting beat up.
It's like, even when the guy getting pummeled is the one that started the fight, you're like, okay, guys.
We get it.
You made your point.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel with the voters and Nikki Haley. It's like, all right, guys. I'm no Nikki Haley fan.
No.
But somebody needs to throw in the towel here. Because I'm beginning to feel bad. I'm beginning to feel very bad for Nikki Haley. I don't know how you recover from this.
Yeah, this is tough. Mario texted in, purging.
Purging. The purge is in.
And then our friend John in Lawrenceburg texted in, so Nikki lost to hard pass.
Yeah. And that's, listen, that's counting the fact that there were probably people that looked at the Iowa primary and the Nevada primary and said, I don't need to vote in this. Why am I going to go do that? I have things to do. There was probably a large amount of people in Nevada that said just that. Chris on the text line wants to know if he says, dude, forget Nikki. Did you find a 49ers song yet? Not yet. I'll find one. I promise. But I do. I feel bad for Nikki Haley. I know I shouldn't. I know that we should really rub this one in. But I kind of feel bad. Just being honest. Trump, on the other hand, is expected to win the Nevada caucus on Thursday, and he's picking up big endorsements once again. The latest endorsement from the International Union of Police Associations. They've endorsed Donald Trump for president. They say he has earned this endorsement, and they are proud to give him their support. That happened yesterday. In a statement with the International Union of Police Associations, they cited Trump's unmatched support for law enforcement, contrasting it with the Democrats' soft on crime policies. It's a pretty easy endorsement. They say President Trump's history of support for the men and women of law enforcement is unmatched. His policies and actions were directed at improving safety in our communities and men and women who provide that shield. He has earned and deserves our wholehearted support. I couldn't agree with that more. And Trump has a banger of a new ad out against Joe Biden. Have you seen this ad? I'm going to retweet it on my Twitter account so you can see the actual video with it. at Chris Hand on Air, but you can listen to it and really get the gist of this new ad. There is a portion at the end of the video where some words flash on the screen, and I'll tell you what those say after we listen. This is the new Trump campaign ad.
6 men have been charging that brutal attack caught on camera.
A shocking act of violence.
2 NYPD officers beaten in Times Square.
All of those arrested were released without bail.
Why did these 4 individuals be released on their own recognizance?
The Biden administration is fighting to release as many migrants as quickly as possible.
I'll reverse Trump's detrimental asylum policies.
There's no need for us.
Biden administration's reversed Trump's policy on remain in Mexico.
Joe Biden to stop construction of the border wall.
It's a new day on the southern border. Here we go. The policy that made it easy to kick out migrants is gone.
He inherited the lowest rate of illegal immigration, and he immediately reinstated catch and release. And so when they apprehend people, they let them go.
I'll reverse Trump's detrimental asylum policies.
So at the end there, when he says, I'll reverse Trump's detrimental asylum policies, and he kind of butchers it in his Bidenese, it ends with the illegal alien walking out of the New York court, flipping off the camera, and the words flash across the screen. It says, Joe Biden is giving you the finger. Based. If you want to see the entire ad, you can go find it on my Twitter page, at Chris Hand on Air. The audio is great, but it doesn't give it justice. Powerful stuff coming out of the Trump campaign. Absolute fire. I suggest you go watch, retweet, share on your timeline as well. It is 9:19 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. On the way, we're going to dive into Ronna McDaniel, Tucker Carlson, and more. Hang out with us. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Mac, are you excited for our Super Talk Live event?
Oh. I was like, well, the Super Bowl is not till Sunday.
Calm down, bro. Calm down.
No, I'm pumped. Let's go. Another event, baby.
Our Super Talk Live event, Tuesday, March 5th, Super Tuesday. Will none of these candidates beat Nikki Haley again? So it's a free event happening at the Nashville Palace. We'll be broadcasting live as the results come in on Super Tuesday. Myself, Dan Mandis, Matt Murphy, Brian Wilson, a night of fun, food, and conversation. Now, if you reserve your table online, it's all free. But if you reserve your table online, you'll be in the running for a massive hot chicken and barbecue tailgate package for 25 people.
Let's go.
You can do that at 997WTN.com. It all starts at 6. Brought to you by our friends at the Glock store at shoot270.com. Now, earlier this morning, Dan made a note that Ken Weaver could not win the barbecue tailgate package.
Oh, I was just about to ask.
Yeah, I protested.
Now, since Dan is no longer here, I want to point out that he said nothing, Ken, about your wife and kids signing.
That's right.
You know
That's
what I mean?
right.
Super dope.
Family is exempt from the employee rules, the last I heard.
Let's go.
Well, and technically, I'm a listener.
This is true.
Yeah, of course.
I've got my headphones on right now.
Ken listens to my show every day.
That's right. Every day.
He doesn't miss one. Mac.
Okay. Well, Ken tunes out around 11:30. I'm tuned in the whole time.
Oh,
so.
okay.
Well, that's because my rear end catches fire
That's
every
true.
day at
That's
that time,
true.
and I have to go put it out.
So we hope to see you at our Super Talk Live event, Tuesday, March 5th, Super Tuesday, Nashville Palace. Again, if you log on to 997WTN.com, reserve your table, you could win a massive hot chicken and barbecue tailgate package for 25 people. Or, if you put your mind to it, it could be a personal barbecue package. You can do anything you put your mind to.
100%.
It's like I always tell my family, my friends, any pizza is a personal pizza if you're willing to go the distance,
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So just want to put that out there. We hope to see you there. Now, I want to continue on talking about Ronna McDaniel. How amazing is this? She has stepped down from the RNC. She is officially going to be stepping down after the South Carolina primary. Just yesterday, we were seeing headlines that her chief of staff was stepping down earlier in the day. Just yesterday, earlier in the day, Trump said he would discuss RNC changes after the South Carolina primary. They were all hinting that major change was coming, and then late last night, boom, it hit. Ronna McDaniel's stepping down as the RNC chair. I always do that. It's Ronna McDaniel, not Ronna McDaniels. I will say this. Everybody's been really nice to her on her way out. They haven't been saying mean things. Nobody's been going full scorched earth the way Vivek Ramaswamy did at the debate. And I wish people would just tell her how they really feel about her.
I think there's something deeper going on in the Republican Party here, and I am upset about what happened last night. We've become a party of losers at the end of the day. It was a cancer to the Republican establishment. Let's speak the truth. I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you.
"9:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 2 minutes. Right now, Harding Place eastbound at Limbar Drive in South Nashville is closed for a fatal crash investigation. Metro Police say a woman was killed after being run over by a box truck at that intersection. She apparently was pushing a bicycle when she was run over. The driver of the box truck stayed on the scene, could be facing several charges, according to police. Right now in California, search and rescue crews looking for a missing helicopter with 5 Marines aboard. And changes coming to the way you watch sports.
Really going to shake up the sports and media landscape. This is an acknowledgement to the consumer, who's getting very confused right now with all these different services to choose from.
That's Joe Flint of the Wall Street Journal, who says now ESPN is teaming up with Fox Sports, TNT, and TBS to offer subscribers all of those channels together, which would have about 55% of all televised sports in the country. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
I think there's something deeper going on in the Republican Party here, and I am upset about what happened last night. We've become a party of losers at the end of the day. It was a cancer to the Republican establishment. Let's speak the truth. I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you. And frankly, look, the people there cheering for losing in the Republican Party. Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about and bringing more people into our party. Do you think the Democrats, and we've got Kristen Welker here, do you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate? They wouldn't do it.
That was Vivek Ramaswamy just absolutely throwing haymakers at Ronna McDaniel back in that debate in 2023. Ronna didn't take him up on heading up on stage to resign, but she has resigned. And we learned that last night at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Ronna McDaniel is out. Are you happy about that? I'm happy. I think this is a step in the right direction. I think we have an actual opportunity to do something meaningful. But here's the thing. We're only going to have one shot at this. We are behind the eight ball in so many different areas. Whether it's getting out the vote, ballot harvesting, chasing those ballots, all the different things. We are behind the eight ball. Who do you want to see head the RNC? I think that there are some great choices out there. I think Vivek would be awesome if he wanted to take the job. I think a guy like Scott Pressler has his thumb on the pulse of the grassroots. Scott Pressler would be a great choice. I think Harmeet Dillon would be amazing. But I'd love to know what you think. 615-737-9986. JP, you're next on Super Talk. What do you think about these changes at the RNC, my friend?
Yeah, I think it presents a new, unique opportunity to kind of change the conversation rather than who, but the what they're capable of. Because the biggest issue is a lack of accountability for most of the issues that we're all facing. We hear lots of great sound bites. We see, lots of, debating. But what we never see is an actual follow-up in these hearings. No one's arrested. No one is found guilty of a dereliction of duty. And so where I think the American people are left with is, okay, if the government is so corrupt that they 100% fail to hold each other accountable in this, who then holds them accountable? So, within the RNC or as these, elections are coming up, what needs to be on the ticket is accountability, because as this continues to spin and spiral and our own laws are continuing to be failed, to be upheld, and there seems to be some ticket to do that I don't have to uphold it if I don't agree with it, where these people have taken an oath to uphold the laws that we actually do have, and they don't do it, and then no one is held accountable. We see these massive hearings, and nothing happens. So for me, personally, what's important to me as a voter is who has the actual capability to go in there and hold people accountable. And I'll hang up and listen.
Well, who's your dream pick, JP? Before you go.
Oh, I'd say if you can get him, I think Tim Scott's a great choice. I really like him. Yeah, absolutely. I think he covers a lot of bases. I think he's a smart guy. I think he needs an opportunity to lead in maybe a little bit different capacity. And because I think it just puts him in a little bit different position than what is the typical mire of the, what we call the Potomac two-step. No one can actually move on their ideals. But if you put them in a real leadership position, I also think it's a crossover into clear crossover into other communities that need a voice in this area, because what's missing is pragmatism. What's missing is clarity and accountability, not, the Nikki Haley's or even the Trumps or whatever. They're just so good at sound bites. And,
Trump, to his credit, was good at policy as well.
Sure. Yeah. I've got really no particular issues there, but if we're talking about the RNC specifically, I think the strategy that needs to change could come from somebody like a Tim Scott.
That's interesting. Thanks for the call, JP. I have not thought about Tim Scott as the head of the RNC. I think that a lot of people think he's going to be Trump's VP pick. And I wonder if Tim Scott is too intertwined in the establishment to really have a grasp on the grassroots, personally. Maybe he's the right guy for the job because he can help with fundraising. He's not the one that I've thought of at all. Not at all. It seems like the establishment pick is for Ronna McDaniel's handpicked replacement, which would be the chairman of the North Carolina Republican Party, Michael Whatley, as her replacement. That's what the New York Times is reporting could be the next one up. Now, fully honest, I don't know much about Michael Whatley. But when I read the New York Times description of him, I was like, oh, all right, maybe he's a pretty cool guy. Because the New York Times just bashes him. They go right in. Second paragraph. They say, according to several people familiar with discussions, this Michael Whatley is described as a stop the steal guy. He endorses Mr. Trump's false claims about mass voter fraud. And Mr. Trump believes he did a good job delivering North Carolina, a 2020 swing state, to him. The New York Times also continues to bash him and says, Mr. Whatley has baselessly claimed that the election security efforts from Republicans in North Carolina stopped Democrats from cheating. He is also currently the general counsel at the Republican National Committee and has endorsed efforts to develop new voting laws. So when I see an outlet like the New York Times bashing him in this kind of way, maybe he could be the right guy for the job. Jury's out. Who would you want in there? 615-737-9986. Again, I look at a guy like Scott Pressler, and I think that would be great. Tyler Boyer from Turning Point Action, they've been doing a bunch to get out the vote and go after the RNC. He tweeted out last night that it looks like there's a fight breaking out for the chair, with conservatives lobbying for Drew McKissick out of South Carolina to take over as interim chair instead of Ronna's pick, which is the aforementioned Michael Whatley. He says no matter where the chips land, his top three picks from the 168 as co-chair is Julianne Murray, chairwoman from Delaware, who just stuck it to Hunter and no excuse mail voting. Casey Crosby, who's the RNC treasurer from Kentucky, who has been a dramatic improvement from the Bush guy who was there before. And Harmeet Dillon, who he says probably wants none of it, but that's why you want her. No one is in tune with what needs to happen next than Harmeet. And I think she would finally help the RNC develop a stronger legal strategy. Tyler says he cannot speak highly enough of all three of those women, and he trusts all three. Any of them would be an improvement in leadership. Hey, I mean, I think an improvement in leadership includes not spending millions of dollars on flowers and limo rides.
Bingo.
I think that would be a step in the right direction. Don't you? Not wasting the money donated on floral arrangements.
I think that's an easy step one.
I feel like that's a good step in the right direction. Before we even get to the voting law stuff, maybe not waste donations on flowers.
Yes.
I think that would be an improvement. While the Democrats and the DNC are amassing a war chest worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Maybe pushing for debates where we don't have people that hate us moderating would be a step in the right direction. But you know what? A step in the right direction is Ronna McDaniel stepping down. Matt Gaetz He tweeted out an endorsement, and I thought it was pretty funny. Dan talked about this on his show. Apparently, the Calvin Coolidge Project tweeted this out. They say sources familiar with the RNC say that Kevin McCarthy is a dark horse candidate to replace Ronna McDaniel as RNC chairman due to his fundraising abilities. That was one of the reasons why they chose him for Speaker of the House, too. The guy can fundraise. He's got rich friends. He can raise lots of money. Matt Gaetz tweeted out, I fully endorse Kevin McCarthy for RNC chair. Kevin is well organized and a very high revenue fundraiser. He is also well liked by the RNC committee. The RNC chair doesn't make any policy decisions, set any agenda, or negotiate against Democrats ever. Kevin would be terrific. It cracks me up.
Yeah, it sounds like hiring the college football coach who recruits really well but doesn't actually coach. It's like, you can get the good players.
Yeah. Let somebody else be the offensive and defensive coordinator. That'd be great. But, I mean, everybody thought that this was coming. People have been calling for her head on a stick for a while. And I think that this is one of those victories that we have to celebrate, but we have to get the next step right. We have to. We have to. 0397 wants to know if did Ronna send flowers of condolences to Nikki Haley? Let's check the books. No, but I think she sent a congratulatory flower arrangement to none of these candidates for winning the Nevada primary last night. 3076 wants Vivek as the next head of the RNC. 9716 says the next head of the RNC has got to be willing to live at the extreme edges of the gray area that are elections. That means pushing the envelope on ballot harvesting and get out the vote and having the right people at poll stations to actually hold people accountable. I think that you're absolutely right, 9716. We need to have the right people in place. And in places where ballot harvesting and get out the vote is happening, we need to be doing it. If the rules allow it, we need to play the game the way the rules say we can play the game. Point blank. Point blank. I'm not a fan of ballot harvesting. I'm not a fan of mail-in ballots. I'm not, I don't like these things. But if it's allowed in a state and the Democrats are going to use it to their advantage, we have to be out there trying to counter it. We have to. We absolutely have to. 4667 says Donald Jr. to run the RNC. I don't know. I like Donald Trump Jr., but I don't know if he's the right guy.
Yeah. Scott Walker, Mario texted in.
Not familiar with Scott.
Yeah, I had to look up Scott Walker. Let me pull it up again.
Tell me about him.
Scott Walker, he's the 45th governor of Wisconsin until 2019. Let's see. Yeah.
Nothing exciting.
Nothing exciting. Yep.
Like I feel like you need one of these guys that is in touch with the grassroots. And I don't know. Does governor of Wisconsin scream in touch with grassroots to you? And did he lose in 2019?
Yeah, he most recently he sought a third term as governor in 2018, but was narrowly defeated by Democrat Tony Evers.
So he has the stench of failure on him
from 6 years ago.
Yeah. And has he done anything notable since?
I haven't seen. Yeah, I'm seeing. I guess he had a presidential campaign in 2016.
Oh, how'd that go? Was that? Did he do good? Who won in 2016?
Yeah, I can't quite remember.
I don't recall.
Oh, he endorsed the candidacy of Ted Cruz.
All right.
You like that?
It's a low-hanging fruit, though.
Yeah. He said that Trump would make a better president than Hillary Clinton.
Shocker. All right. He must be our guy.
That's it.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Mitch McConnell voted for Trump twice. I don't like him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. The bar's set very low. I actually, you know what? It brings up the Bud Light thing. Have you heard that Trump is on the Bud Light train?
Oh, really?
Let's talk about that. We'll talk about that next. It's 9:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Fatal crash investigation has Harding Place eastbound closed at Limbar Drive. Some Marines are missing. A fatal crash. We just mentioned. We're going to tell you about that. Then the Southern Border Security and Foreign Aid bill in the Senate goes to not one but two votes today. And warnings to Americans hooking up with people on dating apps. These stories and more at 10 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So Trump wants you to give Bud Light another chance. Please, he says, please. Anheuser-Busch is a great American brand that deserves a second chance, he put on the social medias. So what do you think? Perhaps instead we should be going after those companies looking to destroy America. I don't know about you. I don't drink, all right? I swore off Bud Light years ago. But if I had a dog in this fight, this would be the moment where I say, hold the line. Personally, hold the line. Because you think about what Bud Light has been doing. They ink that big endorsement deal with UFC.
Yep.
They ink the big endorsement deal with Shane Gillis. They have the Trumps backing them. Imagine if we said, even with all of that, no. No. Not going back. Plus, I think that this is all a little bit too late. But it takes, 90 days to break a habit? 90 days?
Way past that now.
We're way past that. People have changed their patterns.
We're coming up on a year.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry. Trump says Anheuser-Busch is not a woke company. It's like, too bad. Too bad. It's not even about Bud Light anymore, right? Like, yeah, they made their mistake. I'm not angry with them. Screw them anyway. Because it's not about Bud Light anymore. It's about the message. If you go against conservative values, if you go against this America First idea, we're done with you. And it's a warning to any other company that it doesn't matter what you do. You ink that UFC deal, you ink that Shane Gillis deal, you send Trump out there to beg us to give Bud Light another chance, and we'll say no. I for one, think it's time to hold the line. What do you think? 615-737-9986. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Ten o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 2 minutes. Right now, police have shut down eastbound Harding Place at Limbar Drive for an investigation after a woman was run over and killed in South Nashville this morning. It seems this woman was pushing a bicycle and was run over by a box truck at the intersection of Harding Place and Limbar Drive. That box truck driver stayed on the scene, but police say charges are possible, according to News 2. 5 Marines on board a military helicopter are missing after the chopper disappeared while flying from Nevada to San Diego overnight.
The search right now is focused on an area where the military last got a ping as a heavy lift Sikorsky CH-53E Super Stallion was flying. It's a rural area of the Cleveland National Forest in eastern San Diego County. Firefighters went there overnight. They did not find anything. The area has been socked in with bad weather and snow on the ground. It's been a struggle to get an air search underway because of the weather.
That's Alex Stone reporting. Right now in our nation's capital, the Senate votes today on that bipartisan agreement on border security and foreign aid.
The Senate is now expected to take 2 votes. The first on the bipartisan compromise, the foreign aid bill with the border provisions. Republicans and at least a couple of Democrats are likely to vote to filibuster it. Then, Senate Leader Chuck Schumer is expected to offer a slimmed-down version with just the aid for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. He's essentially daring Republicans to vote against it.
Stephen Portnoy reporting. U.S. Embassy in Colombia renewing its warnings about a new danger facing visitors to that country as Americans have been targeted by criminals after using dating apps.
Officials in the popular tourist destination of Medellin say they've seen a rise in cases of violence against Americans involving people they met on Tinder or Grindr. This month, 3 men have died under suspicious circumstances. 1 found dead in his hotel room, 2 who fell from high-rise buildings. The New York Times says that more commonly men are drugged and robbed by women they connect with on dating apps in Colombia.
That's Jim Ryan and the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Well, you'd plan for the rain and you'd have an umbrella. Are you planning for the markets in this upcoming year? I mean, I know that a lot of people are worried about the markets right now. It's Chris Hand from my friends at Paul Winkler, Inc. And as you're planning for the year ahead, I'm excited to tell you about a new workshop by Paul Winkler that you don't want to miss. It's called Politics and Portfolios, How to Invest During Election Season. And you can secure your spot in this workshop by visiting paulwinkler.com/election. It is the perfect time to start your education in the financial world because right now, the financial landscape is getting pretty confusing. It is an election year. So should you be looking to buy? Should you be looking to sell? How should you expect the market to behave? Well, Paul's going to cut through all the noise and dive deep into historical data to give you the facts and explain things with easy-to-understand charts and graphs. Paul is going to be doing this live online February 23rd at noon. Live online February 23rd at noon. But if you're working, as many conservatives do, or life happens, it gets in the way, you can't make it in real time, register anyway, and they'll shoot you a link to catch the replay. This is the education we always tell you that Paul provides, and it's a great way to get your foot in the pool, so to speak, to see what Paul can do for you. Now, I am required to tell you that I'm paid every time this commercial airs, but here's the thing. I am a client of Paul's. I've learned a lot from him because he's a fiduciary and an expert resource on financial markets. But don't take my word for it. You can learn for yourself. Check out the details online at paulwinkler.com/election. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We were talking about Bud Light. Donald Trump is saying, please give Bud Light a chance. Please. They're a great American company, he says. I activated the hand gestures if you're watching on Super Talk TV. I did it. The greats. I listen, as always, I'm sure you know, I'm a fan of Trump. Completely disagree with this stance. And I understand that Anheuser-Busch donates a lot to conservatives. Trump is fundraising. So maybe this is all a fundraising tactic for Trump. Maybe. Could be. And I don't fault him for that. But personally, I think it's time to hold the line. Trump be damned. You know, I don't think that we should just bend the knee on this boycott because of Trump. The same way I didn't think that people should end the boycott because of UFC. The same way I didn't think people should end the Bud Light boycott because of Shane Gillis. Let them spend their money. Go ahead. Spend all the money you want. But I don't think it's about the money. I think it's about sending a message. Sometimes it's about sending a message. And the message here is the message that we're sending to every single other company that's going to push that woke ideology. That if you turn your back on the majority of Americans, you are done. You're done. Bud Light it's a franchise. What a massive brand. What a massive brand. And they threw it all away with Dylan Mulvaney. That woke ideology. Now, they fired the woman that created that terrible ad campaign. Don't care. Don't care. I tell you this all with the full disclosure that I don't drink. I don't. I haven't drank in many years now. It's not for me. But I implore anybody that does to hold the line. Hold the line. You can't let these companies walk all over American values and then come back in with their tail tucked between their legs because they spent a little bit of money with UFC and Shane Gillis. I had one super texter say, what about their NFL partnership? I didn't actually see the NFL endorsement with Travis Kelce as a way to win over MAGA. But what do you think that was a MAGA? A MAGA?
No.
No.
8627 says, so you want to destroy a company because they put a trans person on one of their beers. You are a part of cancel culture, and I believe you to be a part of the problem in this country.
Yep, I do. I want that company destroyed. Now, here's the thing. It's a large company. I think that brand, Bud Light, is toxic and should be done away with. It should be a proverbial scalp that we do not give back. That's my feelings. Yeah. Yep. Cancel culture. All in. It's one of the first things that we've done boycott-wise that has made such a significant impact. Why would conservatives bend the knee now? Why? It's working.
It's working.
Thank you, Joe. It's working. 0727 says, I do my best to go a step further and stay away from all InBev products. InBev is, of course, the parent company of Bud Light, and they own so many things. I don't want to cost American jobs. 5237 texted in, said they do provide a lot of American jobs. Like, all right, well, switch your style up. Make a new brand. The Bud Light brand is dead. And it should remain buried. Create something else. You want to win back the conservatives? Rebrand Bud Light as MAGA beer or something like that with a picture of Trump on the can. That'll win people back. But I don't. To purchase a Bud Light, why would somebody do that? Why would somebody do that? 4200 said, OMG, mark the date. I agree with Chris Hand. I knew I'd win you over, 4200. It was just a matter of time. Yeah, dude. I don't see any reason to bend the knee at this point. Whether Trump is saying we should buy Bud Light, Don Jr. says we should buy Bud Light. Kid Rock says we should buy Bud Light. The UFC says we should buy Bud Light. Shane Gillis says we should buy Bud Light. I think now is the time to say no. You have destroyed your brand so much that even with the most popular sport, the most popular comedian, the most popular politicians and musicians, we still say no. Mario in the Borough, you're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What do you think about Bud Light?
I say no. I vote for Trump, even if he becomes a jailbird, and I'm all in, but I would not go back to Bud Light. You're right. They chose to be woke over us, and we need to take a stand.
I'm with you, and this is like, I will vote for Trump as well. I think that's the only way forward with the country. But I'm not going to agree with everything he says, and I'm not going to endorse Bud Light.
And you know what? You're talking to somebody that used to drink a 32 ounce for my meal. And I loved it. It was like when I used to smoke cigarettes. It was so good, but you know what? No, and no.
I'm with you, Mario. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Nothing as satisfying to me in my 20s than a Bud Light and a cigarette. I'll tell you that much. No, I think it's time. What are we doing? 0727 just texted. He said, is this an elaborate pitch for Labatt Blue? It's a Canadian beer.
Yeah, isn't it Anheuser-Busch?
It's Molson.
Yeah, the Canadian.
Yeah.
I think that's what Kelsey had in his hand. Jason Kelsey, the other game, the other week ago.
Yep. He had a Bud Light logo out. That was a product
I think it was
placement.
a Labatt Blue. That's what I think.
No, it was Bud Light.
No, I don't think so.
No, bro, it was Bud Light. I watched it in real time.
You're telling me that you watch. Okay.
You were focused on the game. I was focused on the other stuff. Google, fact check it, Mac.
I'm turning off my mic now. I just got told by Chris Hand he was watching the game in real time.
You're damn right I was.
Okay.
Jason Kelsey was holding a Bud Light awkwardly, logo out with a shirt off. Are you fact checking it? I know you turned your mic off. Go ahead. Tell me I'm right. He's not turning his mic back on because he knows.
No, I'm reading.
No. Don't read. Look at the picture. Just go look at, just Google, click images.
It was the Canadian brand Labatt Blues light beer.
No.
Blue Light.
No, I don't believe you.
Okay, I just read it. That's all right.
Did you see the picture?
Yes, I've seen. Okay.
Did you even watch the game?
Yeah, what is going on? Yes, I've seen this picture more than you have. I've watched this game.
You are
What is
such a
going
fair
on?
weather fan. You know that? You're a fair weather fan.
Jason Kelsey's been drinking for 8 hours. He's thinking about which logo is going out towards the camera.
Yep. It's a bum.
Yeah. First ballot Hall of Famer bum.
Listen. First ballot Hall of Famer. Okay.
Jason Kelsey?
You think so?
Yeah. He will be.
First ballot?
I think he's going to be, yeah. His brother obviously will, obviously. But I think Jason will be, yeah.
I hope they lose so bad on Sunday. I was going to stay out of this, but I've now changed my whole opinion because of you, Mac. I hope you know that.
I'm so sorry.
I wasn't even going to watch, and now I am.
Now I'm ordering a Niners shirt.
I'm going to actively root against you.
That's great. The rest of America is too. I love it.
Not rooting against the Chiefs. No. The rest of America.
Just me.
I'm not rooting against the Chiefs.
It's just.
I'm rooting against you. And I'm going to text you during the game.
Oh, my gosh. I will not be texting back.
I know. You never text back.
No, I do.
No, yeah, a day late and $1 short. Mac doesn't text
I'm
back.
I'm a really bad texter. That's true. That's
How
actually
fair. How are you a bad texter?
I'm a terrible texter.
There's no such thing as a bad texter. It's just somebody that doesn't respond.
I think I have 251 unread text messages.
Why would you do that?
I don't know.
All right, anyway. You've derailed me.
I know, I got off.
You've derailed the whole thing. Just like Trump is trying to do with this Bud Light boycott. You like how I got us back on there?
There we
You
go.
like that?
Yeah, is that weird for you with Trump that he was kind of got bought a little bit, or
I mean,
does it really? Do you not?
I don't really care.
Yeah,
I think that's expected.
Yeah, I mean campaign.
Don Jr. kind of laid the groundwork for that months back, right?
Yeah.
When he's saying, "Oh, they donate to a lot of conservative causes." In fact, I actually think it's funny because I think it hurts Bud Light even more because so conservatives aren't going back. No. And now there's going to be headlines saying,
You're right.
Trump says give Bud Light another chance. And so they're going to lose the liberal audience that they were trying to cultivate.
All the never-Trumpers are going to be like, wait, what?
It's like, I'm out on Bud Light. I'm not going to drink that MAGA crap.
No one's going to be drinking Bud Light.
Nobody's going to drink Bud Light. This is the best part about it. Don't bend the knee. Hold the line. Please. Please hold the line. This is what we do. We don't have to listen to everything Trump says. And he can tell us, people say, we already won. Nope. We didn't win enough. We will not win until there are no longer Bud Light cans on the shelves. That's the only win that matters in my book. Because again, it's about sending a message. And the message is you turn against us, you devalue your audience, your customer base, you disrespect us, and you'll never get us back again. Ever. Despite the hundreds of millions of dollars you're spending in the UFC with Shane Gillis, despite whatever you want to donate to Trump, you want to donate hundreds of millions of dollars to Trump? Do it, please, please. Maybe it'll work. I hope it doesn't. I think that they have forever tarnished their brand. 1604 says that they're looking at the picture now, and it is a Bud Light.
I'm literally looking at it. It says Blue Light. Jason Kelsey gave over $600,000 in free marketing to Labatt Blue. I mean, there's multiple articles. I'm looking at the picture. It's Blue Light. Same font, same company.
I'm with 1604.
Okay.
You're fake news, Mac. Speaking of sports, did you see that there's a sports writer who was accused of racism, and he's sued, and he's winning $25 million? Did you see that?
Whoa.
It was an Oklahoma sports broadcaster.
Oh, my gosh.
A newspaper accused him of racism, so he sued them. And now, after they mistakenly labeled him racist over comments he made in a high school basketball game in 2021, they have to pay him $25 million.
Wow.
Bet you want me on that Behind the Box Score podcast now. Shortly after the Oklahoman published their discriminatory remarks and attributed them to this sports broadcaster, it was revealed that they had actually been uttered by his colleague, Matt Rowan. According to the Oklahoman, a Muskogee County jury made their decision to award him $5 million in compensatory damages and $20 million in punitive damages following a 2-week trial in which both sides presented their cases. How much of a cut do you think he's going to give his colleague there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's got to break him off something.
Come on, man. 25 mil.
25 mil? Like, his colleague should never have to work a day in his life
seriously.
after that.
If I was one of the other commentators, I'd be like, come on, bro.
Like, bro, I hate those comments you made, but good looking out.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna have to read more about this. That's crazy.
The incident took place prior to a game between Norman and Midwest City on March 11th, 2021. It happened during the singing of the national anthem. Of course, members of the Norman squad took a knee to protest racial injustice, sparking outrage from Rowan, who appeared to forget his microphone was on. He said, "They're kneeling, bleeping. I hope Norman gets their bleep kicked. Bleep them. I hope they lose." So, I mean, pretty lousy. He definitely was hurling racial slurs.
Yeah.
During a high school girls basketball game.
Yikes.
Not a good look. Not the best look.
You're this guy's lawyer.
Yeah.
Not the best look, bro.
Gonna be honest with you, not sure how a jury's gonna feel about this. But the jury did decide that since the paper said it was the other guy that didn't hurl racial slurs at a high school girls basketball team, and they said that was a $25 million mistake.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
That's crazy, right? Crazy. It's 1021 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hopes dashed today for an imminent Gaza ceasefire and hostage release. And a new report shows a record number of Americans cannot afford their rent. Details at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It's 10:25 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I would like to issue a retraction. It was Labatt Blue.
Boom. Mark it down.
I still feel like I have a huge lead over you.
Yeah, that's so true.
I'm just going to point that out.
I fact-checked, is snow real on the air? So, yeah, I think you're doing well.
Brother Mac spiking the ball. Brother Mac always spikes the ball, man.
All right, it was Labatt Blue.
Woo!
Does this mean I like the Kelsey brothers?
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, that little blue Band-Aid did it for Brother Chris.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that was it. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Boom, I'm out.
He lost me on the boosters. Just saying. Two things at once. Woo! All right, what are we doing? We got news to talk about. Did you see that? Speaking of lawsuits, we talked about that lawsuit a minute ago, that sportscaster.
Yeah.
And you see that Gina Carano is suing Disney over the firing from The Mandalorian?
Whoa.
And Elon Musk, our boy Elon, is funding the lawsuit.
Wow.
Cool.
So Gina Carano is suing the Walt Disney Company for firing her from the Star Wars series The Mandalorian in 2021.
I loved her character.
Yeah, she was great.
She's alleging that the studio violated California law by discriminating against her over her political beliefs.
Yep.
So she's filed a suit against Disney and Lucasfilm and its Lucasfilm division on Tuesday in a California federal court. And then in a notable plot twist, her court case is being funded by Elon Musk, and Elon's on Twitter also pledging to finance lawsuits of anyone who's claiming to have been discriminated against by their employer because of the statements made on the social media platform. So Carano is saying that Disney defamed her by mischaracterizing her social media posts and her character, resulting in the loss of her agent, in the loss of her attorney, and in the loss of future employment opportunities.
Good for her.
I know. She said in a statement, "We rely on our leaders and people in positions of power to be just cool-headed and steady-handed and to be able to listen to all sides of the story. Keep the peace and act justly. However, some of us have been unjustly singled out, harassed, persecuted, and had our livelihood stripped away because we dared to encourage conversation, ask questions, and refused to go along with the mob." I think she's going to win some money.
I think she's got a good case.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
So
that's back whenever canceling people was like, I mean, it was on fire. Everybody was getting canceled.
Yeah, everyone was getting canceled.
They're saying that Disney bullied Miss Carano, trying to force her to conform to their views about cultural and political issues, and that when the bullying failed, they fired her. That's what one of her attorneys on the case said. Punishing employees for their speech on political or social issues is illegal under California law. At the time of Carano's firing, Disney issued a statement saying her social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. But the studio never specified the posts in question. So they're going to have to specify that in court.
Yep.
And I feel like Carano is in for a big payday. A big payday.
Yep. And what else might it expose on the other side?
Seriously, there's going to be discovery.
Mm-hmm.
For years, Carano had used her social media accounts, including her Twitter, to criticize a host of left-wing sacred cows, including mask mandates, COVID lockdowns, oh no, and transgender pronouns. She also expressed skepticism about the integrity of the 2020 election. So she's just normal?
Yeah, she's just normal giving her opinion.
She's just a regular American. The post that appeared to immediately precipitate her firing was an Instagram post in which Carano meant to highlight how unjust it is to have a mob seek to destroy someone for their political beliefs. Boy, ironic, right?
That's awful. That's just terrible.
Carano made no mention of a political party or a particular point of view and compared no one or group of people to the Jewish people during the Holocaust. Rather, she noted that danger arises when one point of view is singled out for harassment, the suit says. Because history is edited, she wrote in this post, because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, that the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? And that was what ended her Disney career. And I hope she wins her lawsuit. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast coming up in 2 minutes. Hopes dashed today for an imminent Gaza ceasefire and hostage release. Hamas's response to a mediated deal by the U.S. and others is riddled with demands Israel has rejected and new ones it will find almost impossible to meet. For example, Hamas demanding in phase 1 Israel lift its siege on Gaza and release 1,500 Palestinian prisoners, 500 of those convicted of murder. And in money news, a new report shows that a record number of Americans cannot afford their rent. The Harvard Joint Center for Housing Studies released data in January, finding 22.4 million renter households, or half of renters nationwide, were spending more than 30% of their income on rent in 2022. The hardest hit have been renters who made less than $30,000 a year and who, after paying rent and utilities, were left with just $310 a month on average. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
10:36 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Have you seen that Tucker Carlson interviewed Vladimir Putin? I know. Don't be alarmed. Our worst fears confirmed. Tucker, Russian agent. It's shocking. It's scary. We'll get through this together, I promise you. Tucker was in, Moscow, Russia? He's hanging out over there, doing an interview with Putin. Media melting down. Oh, my gosh. Did you hear Jen Psaki, the former White House press secretary? She's just losing it. She couldn't believe it. How could Tucker do this? She took these swipes at him, and I think it's laughable at best. This is Jen Psaki taking swipes at Tucker Carlson.
Of course, Carlson is now just another far-right conspiracy peddler with a show on the internet. He's no longer on Fox, as we all know. And he's apparently been spending the last few days in Moscow for some reason. Who knows? We don't know why. He has to stay relevant somehow, so I guess we'll learn in the coming days. Maybe.
Oh, it's because he's a conspiracy theorist trying to stay relevant, right? Pretty cold take, ice cold take, if you will. So let me just break it down. Jen Psaki has a show that airs, I think it's on MSNBC Sundays at 9 a.m. I'm pretty sure it's MSNBC. It's like even a tier lower than CNN. Inside with Jen Psaki. Number one show. They get the number one spot in the key cable demographic among adults 25 to 54. They get 137,000 viewers. That's all it takes to be number one now. Tucker posted on Twitter a 4-minute explanation of why he's doing his interview with Putin. Why he's doing it. So just to put things in perspective, right? This far-right conspiracy theorist trying to stay relevant. He posted a 4-minute video explaining why he's doing this. And do you know how many views it got? 80.4 million currently. 80.4 million. Jen Psaki's show gets number one with 137,000. Tucker's 4-minute explanation of why he's interviewing Putin gets 80 million views. I mean, listen, pretty good for a far-right conspiracy peddler with a show on the internet who's no longer on Fox and trying to stay relevant, right? Pretty good. That's how Jen Psaki described Tucker.
Of course, Carlson is now just another far-right conspiracy peddler with a show on the internet. He's no longer on Fox, as we all know. And he's apparently been spending the last few days in Moscow for some reason. Who knows? We don't know why. He has to stay relevant somehow, so I guess we'll learn in the coming days. Maybe.
His 4-minute video had 80 million views. She gets 137,000 a week for the number one spot. And she's saying that Tucker's trying to stay relevant.
Be like if the UFL was like, oh, pretty cute. Pretty cute that the NFL thinks that they can have their big game on Sundays. Nice. Like, wait, what?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We heard about that little thing that they're doing. Yeah. The soup. What is it? Is the soup? It's called the Superb Owl. Is that what it is?
Lame.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a championship too.
Exactly.
And we actually got the number one spot. So, cute. Try and stay relevant. Good luck.
It's kind of embarrassing.
Did you hear we merged with the XFL?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Nobody wants to merge with you guys.
So lame.
What a ice cold take from Jen Psaki. So Tucker puts out this 4-minute video on why he's doing this. It gets 80 million views. Jen Psaki has a weekly show, number one, 137,000 viewers. Now, again, I'm not throwing rocks. I'm just saying a far-right internet conspiracy peddler with a show on the internet trying to stay relevant is how Jen Psaki described Tucker. And he gets 80 million views on a 4-minute video. Now, I mean, some of his videos do a little bit, not as good. Like his interview with Russell Brand got about 7 million views. I don't know what the napkin math is, how many episodes Jen Psaki would have to put in to get that kind of views. But, hey, just try to stay relevant, Tucker. Try to stay relevant. But he puts out this interview, this 4-minute clip about why he's doing this interview with Putin on Twitter to explain why he's doing it.
There are risks to conducting an interview like this, obviously. So we thought about it carefully over many months. Here's why we're doing it. First, because it's our job. We're in journalism. Our duty is to inform people. 2 years into a war that's reshaping the entire world, most Americans are not informed. They have no real idea what's happening in this region, here in Russia or 600 miles away in Ukraine. But they should know. They're paying for much of it in ways they might not fully yet perceive. The war in Ukraine is a human disaster. It's left hundreds of thousands of people dead, an entire generation of young Ukrainians, and it's depopulated the largest country in Europe. But the long-term effects are even more profound.
And he's right. I mean, the death and destruction are terrible. An entire generation of Ukrainians lost. But the long-term effects we haven't even really talked about. I mean, the economy, for one, he discusses in this next clip, and I want to also bring up the emergence of BRICS. BRICS, the bottom line, BRICS refers to these emerging market countries. It's the alliances between Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and more. These countries are working together. They're establishing deeper ties for economic expansion, trade, and maybe military down the road. But the emergence of BRICS is a huge deal, and we've helped facilitate it throughout this war. And we're going to see the effects of the economy, but nobody really wants to talk about the effects of the economy.
This war has utterly reshaped the global military and trade alliances, and the sanctions that followed have as well. And in total, they have upended the world economy. The post-World War II economic order, the system that guaranteed prosperity in the West for more than 80 years, is coming apart very fast, and along with it, the dominance of the U.S. dollar. These are not small changes. They are history-altering developments. They will define the lives of our grandchildren. Most of the world understands this perfectly well. They can see it. Ask anyone in Asia or the Middle East what the future looks like. And yet the populations of the English-speaking countries seem mostly unaware. They think that as nothing has really changed. And they think that because no one has told them the truth.
Now, nobody telling you the truth. Listen, if you guys listen to this station, then I know it sounds so familiar to you and I. But we see the results of Americans being lied to by the media every day. You see it when you see somebody driving alone in their car with a mask on their face. We understand that the media lies to us every day. Unfortunately, a large portion of our country and people in general are blind to that reality. They're blind to the fact that the media lies to them, how the media lies to them. And honestly, that's by design. This is because the media and the government have worked hand in hand to get there, to get to this point. And you can look at declassified documents like Operation Mockingbird and see that this has been going on for a long time. Yet here we are today, and large portions of our country have no idea what's going on because they believe the media.
Their media outlets are corrupt. They lie to their readers and viewers, and they do that mostly by omission. For example, since the day the war in Ukraine began, American media outlets have spoken to scores of people from Ukraine, and they have done scores of interviews with Ukrainian President Zelensky. We ourselves have put in a request for an interview with Zelensky, and we hope he accepts. But the interviews he's already done in the United States are not traditional interviews. They are fawning pep sessions specifically designed to amplify Zelensky's demand that the U.S. enter more deeply into a war in Eastern Europe and pay for it. That is not journalism. It is government propaganda. Propaganda of the ugliest kind, the kind that kills people.
Now, we've all seen and heard the softball interviews that Tucker's talking about there with Zelensky. We've seen him. He's wearing that same green shirt, doing the same thing, same song and dance, asking for money. But while we've seen those, We don't get to see anything from the other side. Again, this is all by design. I mean, hell, they told us that Russia blew up its own pipeline. That Russia took out the Nord Stream pipeline. And many people believed it wholesale. And I will point out, not at any fault of their own, but at the fault of the media and the government and the propaganda. And this is what we're up against.
At the same time, our politicians and media outlets have been doing this, promoting a foreign leader like he's a new consumer brand. Not a single Western journalist has bothered to interview the president of the other country involved in this conflict, Vladimir Putin. Most Americans have no idea why Putin invaded Ukraine or what his goals are now. They've never heard his voice. That's wrong. Americans have a right to know all they can about a war they're implicated in, and we have the right to tell them about it because we are Americans too. Freedom of speech is our birthright. We were born with the right to say what we believe. That right cannot be taken away no matter who is in the White House. But they're trying anyway. Almost 3 years ago, the Biden administration illegally spied on our text messages and then leaked the contents to their servants in the news media. They did this in order to stop a Putin interview that we were planning. Last month, we're pretty certain they did exactly the same thing once again. But this time, we came to Moscow anyway.
So he's saying that Biden and his administration spied on Tucker and his team to stop this interview once. It worked that time. They were unable to do it. And he says that they did it again. More recently. Spied on their text messages. But it didn't work this time. And when they spy on him again and it doesn't work, that's when you see the media line up to smear Tucker as a conspiracy theorist, MAGA Republican. And this is what their game plan is. If they can't shut it down, they'll smear and they'll name call. This is why you saw CNN yesterday. We played the clip calling Tucker a MAGA Republican with his MAGA cult leader. That's why you see Jen Psaki calling Tucker a far-right conspiracy peddler with a show on the internet who's no longer on Fox and trying to stay relevant. Because they weren't able to shut it down. So now they have to discredit. But Tucker says, though, even with all of that, he's not doing this interview to make Putin into some kind of hero. He's doing this to be a journalist. And he's doing it because of the lack of journalism in this country.
We are not here because we love Vladimir Putin. We are here because we love the United States. And we want it to remain prosperous and free. We paid for this trip ourselves. We took no money from any government or group. Nor are we charging people to see the interview. It is not behind a paywall. Anyone can watch the entire thing, shot live to tape and unedited, on our website, tuckercarlson.com. Elon Musk, to his great credit, has promised not to suppress or block this interview once we post it on his platform, X, and we're grateful for that. Western governments, by contrast, will certainly do their best to censor this video on other less principled platforms because that's what they do. They are afraid of information they can't control. But you have no reason to be afraid of it. We are not encouraging you to agree with what Putin may say in this interview, but we are urging you to watch it. You should know as much as you can. And then, like a free citizen and not a slave, you can decide for yourself.
Are you going to be watching this interview? I for sure am. I'm looking forward to it. Again, it's only a problem now because Tucker's doing it. It wasn't a problem in 2013 when the AP interviewed Putin, or in 2016 when Bloomberg interviewed Putin, or in 2017 when Oliver Stone interviewed Putin for Showtime or Megyn Kelly interviewed Putin for NBC. It wasn't an issue in 2021 when Putin was interviewed for NBC and CNBC. No. It's only a problem now because it's Tucker, and they're scared of what might be said. But again, I want to play this last part one more time. He's not doing this to make Putin a hero. He's doing this so that way you can listen and think for yourself.
We are not encouraging you to agree with what Putin may say in this interview, but we are urging you to watch it. You should know as much as you can. And then, like a free citizen and not a slave, you can decide for yourself.
Marines missing on the West Coast. A new report shows a record number of Americans can't afford their rent. A Nashville advocate for gun control announces candidacy for the Tennessee House. And we'll tell you where officials say hooking up using dating apps is getting Americans killed. These stories and more at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. A lot of comments on the Super Text line at 615-737-9986. You're welcome to call as well. Pretty much everybody's saying that they're gonna be watching this Tucker interview. Apparently he has TikTok too. That's what Jason said on the Super Text line, that he had many million views on his TikTok on this same explanation as to why he's interviewing Putin. Of course, Jen Psaki said he's a conspiracy peddling MAGA extremist, right? With an internet show trying to stay relevant. I pointed out that Jen Psaki gets 137,000 viewers weekly, and that 4-minute video currently on Twitter has about 80 million views. Not even in the same ballpark. 3363 texted in and said 137,000 is less than the population of Chattanooga. Yeah. Dave wants to know where we can watch that interview. It's going to be on Twitter, and it's also going to be on TuckerCarlson.com. It is not released yet. I'm not sure when it's going to be released, but I, for one, will watch it as soon as it's out. It's 11 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Eleven o'clock on the dot this Wednesday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast in 2 minutes. And right now, a developing story. A military helicopter with 5 people on board missing in Southern California.
It is a military heavy lift helicopter, a Sikorsky CH-53E Super Stallion that was traveling from Creech Air Force Base in Nevada to Miramar in San Diego. It refueled in eastern California overnight and then disappeared in bad weather. Search and rescue teams are being sent to its last known area in rural San Diego County and the Cleveland National Forest. Firefighters did not find it there when they got on scene.
Alex Stone reporting 5 Marines were reportedly on board. Monday News, a new report showing a record number of Americans can't afford their rent. We're talking 22.4 million Americans, half of all renters in this country. The Harvard Joint Center for Housing Studies releasing data in January that found these families were paying 30% of their income on rent in 2022. The hardest hit have been renters who made less than $30,000 a year and who, after paying rent and utilities, were left with just $310 a month on average. Right now in Nashville, Shondell Brooks, whose son Aquila Da Silva was killed in the 2018 Antioch Waffle House shooting, has announced her candidacy to represent District 60 of the State House of Representatives. That's parts of East Davidson County. Brooks posted she's been working on gun violence prevention for the past 6 years, plans to continue as an elected official. Right now, District 60 is represented by Democrat Darren Jernigan. And a warning to Americans using dating apps from officials looking for common threads among 3 recent deaths in the South American country of Colombia.
Stay off the dating apps. The U.S. Embassy in Colombia says that criminals have been luring victims through Tinder and Grindr, slipping knockout drugs into their food or drinks and robbing them. The crimes are often not reported because the victims are embarrassed, and now the Tinder scam might have turned violent. Police in Medellin, Colombia, say 3 American men have died suspicious deaths in the past few weeks.
That's Jim Ryan reporting, and the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I mean, we've gone through the show 2 hours, and we haven't even touched on the fact that there was a failed impeachment last night.
Yeah.
Failed. Huge failure. That just feels like Republicans, really, the past couple of years. Just letting us down. Constantly. Constantly. But I don't want to be black-pilled. Let's focus on the positives. All right. I tried. So the Mayorkas impeachment failed last night. They failed to impeach him. You know, it stinks. It stinks. It was a 214 to 216 vote. The House voted against the impeachment of Alejandro Mayorkas. Now, the impeachment would have been, it could have been tied, right? And right at the last second, Blake Moore changed his vote when asked by leadership. And he was asked by leadership to change his vote for procedural reasons. So that way they can make a motion to reconsider. So that way they can vote on impeachment again next week. Steve Scalise was not there. And they want Scalise to be there to vote yes. And then they'll be able to officially impeach Mayorkas. Still stinks. They failed. Marjorie Taylor Greene was asked about the failure of impeachment.
We knew it was going to be close going in because our majority is so razor thin. Of course, my colleagues that voted no, I think they'll be hearing from their constituents. But we have a plan in place. There was a motion to recommit, and that means that we can bring the articles of impeachment back to the floor maybe as early as next week. So this is not over yet, and we still can bring back Steve Scalise, and we hope that he's well and he can come back very soon. We look forward to having him come back, and we look forward to him being a solid yes on impeaching Secretary Mayorkas.
So they're going to bring it back next week. Blake Moore changed his vote at the last minute for the procedural reasons, so that way they can re-bring it up, okay? The rhinos in the room, though, are Ken Buck out of Colorado. We knew that was coming. Mike Gallagher out of Wisconsin and Tom McClintock out of California. Rhinos. And as far as I'm concerned, they need to go. They need to go. But Marjorie Taylor Greene there makes the point. They have a razor-thin majority. Razor-thin. One of the reasons that we have a razor-thin majority in the House is because we got rid of George Santos. We got rid of George Santos. And George Santos actually posted a video on the internet last night. And he said to the Republicans, "Do you miss me yet?"
Hey, America, George Santos here. Tonight, I am telling you, Mayorkas was not held accountable thanks to Nick LaLota, Anthony D'Esposito, Mike Lawler, and Rep. Garbarino, along with Michael Guest, due to their obsession about silencing me and the voters of the 3rd District of New York. Now, America has shown its shadow, and we are stuck with Mayorkas for 6 more weeks, thanks to the insipid idiots in Congress, in the GOP. Good luck, guys. Way to go. Way to show the American people you can accomplish something. But I hope you're happy you expelled me. Mwah. Bye.
Okay, so I don't really like George Santos. Just the way he talks. Drives me up a wall.
Mwah. Bye.
So let's get that out of the way. Everything else aside, if this is how you talk,
mwah, bye.
I'm probably not going to hang out with you. But the point remains, did we shoot ourselves in the foot by making our majority even smaller? Would you take this guy, this guy right here,
mwah, bye,
for his vote? Would you? I'm torn. Could we have gotten accomplished what we wanted to get accomplished last night with this guy.
Mwah. Bye.
Probably. Is this guy dealing with this guy
Mwah. Bye.
worth accomplishing bigger goals for the Republican Party? 615-737-9986. A lot of people saying he actually sounds like Richard Simmons on the super text line.
Mwah. Bye.
I can hear that. Could you hear the Richard Simmons in him?
Richard Simmons.
The exercising guy with the fro?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I get that.
Who do you think we were talking about?
I was like, don't know who Richard Simmons is.
Jay says the man's a criminal. Either got to get rid of the criminals and suffer the consequence, or we keep the criminals, and that just makes everybody look bad. No, they needed to get rid of that man. I hear you. Dave says, Chris, enough, please. What's wrong, Dave? Is it this?
Mwah. Bye.
Sorry. And, a lot of people saying we'll still get in the impeachment. That's what 8212 says. But, 6 more weeks of Mayorkas, right? 6 more weeks. 9056 says, I'd rather deal with him. 9056 says they'd rather have Santos here and be able to get what we want done. Dave took it again after he said, Chris, enough, please. He goes, but this is Dave from Hendersonville. I thought we were buddies.
He's like, please, man.
We are buddies, Dave. I won't do it again, I promise.
Don't believe him, Dave. Don't believe him.
No, I won't. Just for Dave in Hendersonville. I'll leave that. I'll stop. Listen, and somebody says, what's your integrity worth? I don't know. It's like, is it worth having a guy that we know is bad but is on our team to get stuff done? Or is it better to not be able to get stuff done? It's a catch-22. Danny says, is Santos a criminal? I missed where he was charged and convicted by a court. Probably is, but innocent until proven so. Danny. I mean, Menendez is still in his seat, right? Gold Bar Bob, the guy that's taking bribes from Egypt. The Democrats don't make their guys leave. Correct? $73.33 says, I don't care how Santos sounds. I want things done. It's not even about how he sounds. I'm just saying with his ethics violations and why he was kicked out, would you rather have him here to help us advance our goals? Seriously. I mean, this guy gets kicked out for ethics violations and is voted out, but we still have rhinos like Ken Buck and Tom McClintock that are basically sabotaging us every single step of the way. 2666 says, if we had a strong majority, kick him out. We have a slim one. Keep him. That's where I'm at. I feel like we would be we're shooting ourselves in the foot constantly in the Republican Party. Constantly. 7308 says standards and common sense, says he had to go. 4460 says ethics in Congress. Crying laughing faces. Mike in Chattanooga, you're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What do you think, Mike?
Good job, Chris, as usual. I'm glad you came over to the area.
Appreciate
anyway,
you, man.
back to a real quick comment. How many of the Republicans had their hand in the till anyway? You're talking about all the criminals here and there. They're everywhere, man.
Yeah.
It's like they go to that job to become millionaires. You can know somebody from your neighborhood, from your church, and you help get them in office. They get in office, and it's like somebody puts an arm around their shoulder, and they say, well, you know how you are, but you're here now, so this is the way we do it. and they change. So you know what I mean.
Yep. I mean,
anyway.
I'm just. I thanks for the call, Michael. I appreciate it, man. You know, I'm just so torn on this whole thing. If Santos is there, we probably get Mayorkas impeached last night. We probably get Mayorkas impeached last night. George says it's like having a dirty cop. That makes a lot of arrests. What's this guy's name on line two?
This is Stip, as far as I know.
Right. I thought it was a spelling error.
I think it's Stip.
Hey, Stip, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, man?
Hey, look, I got an answer for this deal. It comes down to why Nixon chose Eisenhower as a running mate, or why Eisenhower chose Nixon. And someone questioned Eisenhower once, and his response was because he was an old Army man, and he felt it was better to have somebody on the inside of his tent whizzing out than the outside of his tent whizzing in.
So would you rather have Santos under the umbrella so that way he would vote with us?
Yes, absolutely. Because he's inside the tent whizzing out instead of outside the tent whizzing in.
I hear you, buddy. Appreciate the call. You know, George Santos, they say he stole money from his campaign and used his connections to high-value donors to enrich himself. And they kick him out. You know, at the same time, Cori Bush, a member of the squad, she hasn't been kicked out, and they're saying that she used campaign funds to enrich her husband and pay him for private security services. She's currently under investigation. But we didn't let any investigations play out. Bob Menendez still has his seat. They're letting those investigations play out. And I'm not here to defend Santos. I'm just like, if we had another vote, could we have gotten this done? Could we have gotten it done? Do the ends justify the means? It's crazy. Patrick on the super text line says, blows my mind that Republicans can't even agree on impeaching somebody not doing their job at the border, but they are so quick to vote to send billions of dollars to other countries in the blink of an eye. Well, it's always about other countries first. Our border is not a priority. 1266 texted in, said, no guarantee he'd vote to impeach. He's only saying he would because they didn't get the job done. Keep him out. I guess you're right. There's no guarantee. Maybe he wouldn't have voted to impeach. I tend to think he would have. He says he would have. He says he would have. 0202 says they're all bad cops. Every single bleeping one of them. They only voted out the one bad cop because he wasn't good at being a bad cop. 2480 says we keep Santos, but he's mad at the party, so votes opposite. It's proven he can't be trusted and is unethical, so you decide. 8512 says, how many Republicans did not vote to impeach? It was 3. 3. Now, there was technically 4, okay? But Mike Gallagher out of Wisconsin, Tom McClintock out of California, and Ken Buck out of Colorado, those are the main rhinos. Blake Moore also voted no, but he changed his vote to no after being asked by leadership for procedural reasons to make a motion to reconsider, so that way they can vote on impeachment again next week once they have Steve Scalise back. So Blake Moore shouldn't be catching any strays, so to speak. Blake Moore did that at the request of Republican leadership. James in Manchester, you're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, James? Yo, James. James is asleep. All right. Somebody's got to check on James. I'm just torn on the entire thing. I get Santos isn't a good guy. I get it. But could we get more done with an extra vote? Yes, without a doubt. 7914 says, Chris, innocent until proven guilty. Republicans will burn it down over their morals. Individual think. Dan and Gallatin, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, Dan? Yo, Dan. Dan.
Hello?
Hey, Dan, what's up, man?
Not much.
What do you think on George Santos, buddy?
Well, you're talking about George Santos taking money. Trump took $50 million out of campaign funds. You're not saying anything about him.
Okay.
$50 million.
So you're
How about them apples?
you're a never Trumper?
No, I voted for Trump twice, but the only way I'd vote for him again if he was running for president, I certainly wouldn't vote for him in the primary.
Well, he's gonna be the nominee, man. So I look forward to seeing you vote for him a third time.
Well, what do you think about the $50 million he took to pay his lawyer bills?
I mean, I honestly don't really care. I think the fact that there's political indictments against him is more of an indictment on the Biden administration than anything else. I think it's hot garbage that he's dealing with all these lawsuits. And I think if the Justice Department wasn't weaponized, it wouldn't be a discussion at all.
So you don't think he had anything to do with the January 6th thing?
No. Do you?
I think he had everything to do with it, and I voted for him twice.
So saying we're going to march peacefully and patriotically down to the Capitol to let our voices be heard?
Go down there. What about going down there and fight? Fight, fight, fight. Fight, fight, fight.
Okay. So is it okay for Democrats like Maxine Waters to say, when you see Republicans out, I want you to surround them, make them uncomfortable, make a scene?
No, I totally agree with you there, but that's Maxine Waters. She's an idiot anyway.
Okay, so it doesn't count if the person's an idiot?
We're not talking about Maxine Waters. We're talking about Trump using $50 million of campaign money.
I already told you I don't care about that.
You know, I know you're a Trump guy, big, but you got to realize he's a little bit to blame for some of this stuff.
Like
he's crapped on everybody. Look how he's done Rudy Giuliani. He won't pay anybody, nobody.
What is he? I don't know, man. Who else is going to get in there and fix it?
He never paid a lawyer yet.
Okay. I mean,
that's the reason he keeps on getting different lawyers, because he don't pay them.
So you like Haley? You like Nikki Haley, Dan?
No, actually, I like the Florida guy, Ron DeSantis.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't like him either?
Fancy shoes. I mean, he's okay.
Well, at least he don't wear. You know, Trump, foot size is an 8, and he buys a 11 or 12 shoe and has them stuffed, so everybody won't know he's got such small feet.
Oh, okay. Hey,
how about them fancy pants?
I think that's hilarious. I appreciate the call, Dan. Thanks so much.
How can we help you?
Dan's in the drive-thru. Did you hear him? How can we help you? I don't know. I like Dan. How about Trump using $50 million a campaign to clear his name? I don't really care. Still my guy. Haven't really given that much thought at all, to be perfectly honest with you. So, I don't know. What do you think about it? 11:23 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand for my friends at USS, United Structural Systems. These guys are the experts in foundation repair and crawl space encapsulation. They do it all, from foundation repair to that crawl space floor support, encapsulation, waterproofing. They'll realign your basement walls. They'll even fix the sinkholes on your property. All you have to do is give them a call to check it out, 615-488-7855. They've been doing it in Middle Tennessee since 1994. They aren't going anywhere, and they have 25,000 satisfied customers to back them up. Listen, this is what they'll do. They'll come see you. They'll look at your issues. They'll look at your problems, and they'll make a custom solution for you. You never pay until the work is done, and the warranty stays with your home. They aren't going anywhere. So look around your house. Notice if you see any of these issues. Water in your crawl space, wet basement walls, cracks in your basement floors or foundation. If you see that, that's your house trying to tell you something. Give USS a call to take a look. 615-488-7855. That's 615-488-7855. Online at USSTN.com.
Just in time for lunch. A rolling roadblock. Pothole patching. The right two lanes blocked 24 eastbound right before Spring Street and Ellington Parkway downtown. And then another one in Williamson County. The right lane blocked. Pothole patching 65 southbound at the Thompson Station Road overpass. Got Marines missing on the West Coast. And Democrats chastising Republicans over the failed impeachment of the Homeland Security Secretary last night. Hear that coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. So a lot of people weighing in on our last friend, Dan. Somebody said, 4203 said, that dude needs to put the pipe down. He said Trump used $50 million to pay for legal fees, but then on the other hand, said Trump don't pay his lawyers. So I looked it up. There's a couple PACs paying his legal fees. You know, Save America PAC raised $36 million over the last 6 months. They're helping pay legal fees. I don't know. Does anybody have a problem with that? I personally don't. I think the indictments are all politically motivated anyway. So, I don't know. Let's go to James in Manchester. He's been waiting for a minute. James, you there?
Yes, I am.
What do you think about Santos?
The ends do not justify the means.
So you wouldn't...
The Republicans have got to take the high road. So they lose the vote or they have to postpone it. That's fine. That's what they need to do. I don't give a hoot what the Democrats do. They are terrible. They need to take care of their own house. We don't need to do something just because they're not doing it. We don't need to not do it. I mean, that's the problem. You become part of the swamp by not acting with integrity. And that's what the Republicans are doing. So absolutely they needed to kick this guy out.
All right. Hey, I get, James, I get where you're coming from, man. I really do, and I appreciate your call. However, when it comes to Santos, I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, all right, they didn't let an investigation play out. Menendez is still in office. Cori Bush is still in office. Are we not going to fight the way the Democrats fight? The losses keep mounting up. I don't know. Mark, Jay, Dave, I get to your calls next. Hang out with us. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes. Crews are searching for a military chopper that was reported overdue to a Marine Corps air station near San Diego overnight. 5 Marines were said to be on board. There's been bad weather in the area. No sign of the chopper or the Marines. In our nation's capital, Republicans say they're going to try to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas next week after they failed to get the votes last night. Meanwhile, the lead Democrat, Hakeem Jeffries, chastising them.
The lesson from yesterday's continued chaos, dysfunction, and extremism is that the Republican my way or the highway approach is not going to work. Period. Full stop.
3 Republicans voted no, and an absent Democrat, Al Green of Texas, showed up after surgery in a wheelchair at the last minute and doomed the resolution. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, it's Chris Hand for my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. It's getting cold, then it's getting hot, then it's getting cold. So if your system isn't working the way it should be, you should get it serviced the best way, the Busy Bee way, with Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. You don't want to wait for a problem to pop up with your system this time of year. Be proactive. Keep your units in tip-top shape. Tippy-toppy, as we like to say at Busy Bee. Whether you need that annual maintenance or if you need something repaired or replaced. Plumbing, heating, or air system, call who I trust, the guys at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. You're not going to find a better value on replacement systems if you have to go that route. The guys at Busy Bee will give you up to 12 months, no payment, no interest, with approved credit. And it pays in so many ways to sign up for that annual maintenance on your plumbing, heating, and air systems from Busy Bee. Plus, you can get added rewards and savings by signing up to be a Beehive member. That'll get you the thorough annual maintenance on your plumbing, heating, and air systems. No overtime charges 24/7 and 10% off all repairs. It'll pay for itself. Plus, they have that convenient Saturday availability for all those maintenance calls, so you'll never be left out in the cold. Busy Bee, they're your rude pro partner for satisfaction guaranteed. Call my guys, Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. 615-775-7833. That's 615-775-7833 or online at busybeehvac.com. 11:37 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We've been going back and forth. George Santos posted this video online last night after the impeachment against Mayorkas failed.
Hey, America, George Santos here. Tonight, I am telling you, Mayorkas was not held accountable thanks to Nick LaLota, Anthony D'Esposito, Mike Lawler, and Rep. Garbarino, along with Michael Guest, due to their obsession about silencing me and the voters of the 3rd District of New York. Now, America has shown its shadow, and we are stuck with Mayorkas for 6 more weeks.
That was George Santos on social media. What do you guys think about it? Let's go to Jay in Clarksville real quick. He's been holding. Jay, you're next on Super Talk. What's up?
What's going on, Chris? Hey, I'm glad you let me on for things. I've been watching this situation, and here's one thing I've learned about the Democrats. I was a Democrat for about 25 years, and I left the party. And here's why. Their rules is they have one golden rule. Anything for a friend, the law for my enemies. And they use it every day, and they've used it really good against Donald Trump. Now, about Mr. Santos, you know, sometimes you have to dance with the devil until you can find someone else to dance with. I kept him in the majority. He did nothing no more egregious than Maxine Waters or old Gold Bar Bob, whoever.
Yeah, Cory Bush, Bob Menendez, all these people. They all kind of do the same things in the same line, and they're allowed to let the justice system play out.
Yes, sir. And I'll tell you, and I don't mean to be bad. I know they're all listening to us all the time, but I'm beginning to think nothing short of a tactical nuclear strike is going to clean that place out.
Oh, jeez.
I think a hurricane. I don't have the capability. I'll never do that. But if you think about it, how many times have we had Republicans in there and Democrats? You get the same damn old thing, right?
It feels like it's two wings of the same bird. Often it does, Jay.
There you go. And one last thing. Remember, folks, it's your country, right? The Declaration of Independence is what the country was founded on. And I shall quote, it says, we are given these rights by our Creator, not by them, and that amongst these rights. And that's a key phrase because they didn't name them all because you can't write them all down on paper. They named the ones that were important. It's your country. You go in and you vote. We have the right to overthrow the government every 2 years, folks. It's called elections. If you're running for a 3rd term, I'm just going to vote against you. Y'all have a great day, all right?
Hey,
Bye-bye.
thanks for the call, Jay. Thanks for hanging on the line. Also hanging on the line is Dave in Hendersonville. Dave, what's up, man?
Hey, I wasn't going to call today, man, until I heard old fella Dan call.
All right.
Yeah, I think he's smoking crack or something.
Just Democrat things. Just Democrat things.
I don't believe he was a never Trumper either. You know, he came down on Trump too hard. If Trump had PACs paying his legal fees, then that was them, not Trump. Yep. They were doing it for Trump. So, you know, maybe he should just jump over to the other side or come out and just go ahead and say, yeah, I'm a never Trumper. And
I mean, it sounds like he's on the other side anyway, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's how I took it, you know, because you guys have people call in all the time that that say they're conservative, but yet they rail against the conservatives or against Trump. So it's I think the guy should have. I think the guy should have been gone though.
You think Santos should have been gone? But listen, the Democrats let the justice system play out for their people. Bob Menendez is still in his seat. Cori Bush is still in her seat.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But that's the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. I know that we should maybe hold maybe not do as much as we do, but that's just because they're in the wrong don't mean we should be in the wrong either. We got better morals than they do, and I mean I've been a Democrat all my life until Trump come along.
No, I get it, man. I hear where you're at, Dave, and I appreciate the call, bud.
Hey, hold on, I got something for you.
All right, hit me. There's my guy. There's my guy. Appreciate you, Dave. Later. It's always beeping in the background.
I love it. Love it.
Always beeping. Let's go to Mark in Smyrna next on Super Talk. What's up, Mark?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good. How are you, sir?
Oh, just peachy, my friend. Hey, care less about Santos either way. I don't think it's going to really make that much of a difference. But as far as Trump goes, he could steal billions, and I wouldn't care as long as he's putting money in our pockets and gets his country straightened back out.
I mean, hey, no new wars, a border wall, a booming economy. Sign me up.
Heck yeah. And how do you feel, Chris, about all these Democrats that voted for Biden, and now they have 13 U.S. soldiers with blood on their hands? Don't you think that would be kind of hard to sleep every night?
I don't understand how the Democrat Party has switched. They used to be the party that was against war, and now they love it.
I think they're all smoking crack.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's just Democrat things.
Oh yeah, but I mean, come on, man, let's get real here. You wave your flag, whatever you want to do, but come on, man, let's be patriotic, be one, and get on with this country. Be the way it's supposed to be before we get our butt handed to us.
No, and I, for one, I don't want any of our troops over there. I'm sick. Oh, there's my guy. All right, appreciate it, Mark. I don't want any of our troops over there. Is that going to become a new thing?
I think
where
that's
people
a new
beat
thing.
before they get off the phone with us?
That's the anecdotal evidence we're looking at, though, when we say we're the trucker show.
We are number one anecdotally. So I don't want any of our troops overseas, and I don't like Santos at all. I think he's lousy. But if that vote makes the difference, should we have at least waited for the legal process to play out? Democrats wait for the legal process to play out. Let's go to Tim in Nashville. You're next on Super Talk. What's up, Tim?
You mean Ken?
Tim?
Or Ken Brown?
Yeah. What's up, Tim?
Well, the earlier caller, he said that Trump spent $50 million on his attorneys, and he came back and said he never paid his attorneys. You can't have it both ways. That's one thing.
Yep.
The other thing is the Democrats, even wars. I mean, Roosevelt was a Democrat against the worst war. Should have been in that war in the first place, but we got in that war anyhow. And World War I was Woodrow Wilson, so they were Democrats. I think we got a bunch of compromised congressmen. I think we have one party with two names.
Yep.
I mean, we got fiat currency. We got a cabal that controls our government. It's international. And this guy's running about shoe size. I mean, that's a bit ridiculous, I think. What do you think?
I think it is ridiculous, and I like that you bring up fiat currency. It's like we're never going to be able to pay this debt.
$31 trillion. And actually, it's more than that when you take the long-term debt into consideration. And you think about our total assets, about 56 or maybe 60 million, trillion. I mean, we're BK. I mean, I don't know how we're going to come out of it. I mean, I study economics, and you tell me. Let someone tell me how you can come out of this.
I don't know. I don't know how we come out of it. I just know it's like, how do you eat an elephant? We got to start taking one bite at a time, right?
Well, yeah, if you can do that, but how can you do that when you got a compromised Congress with neocons like Lindsey Graham and others is supporting wars? They want to send billions to Ukraine, which is the most corrupt country in Europe, and no one wants to interview Putin and get the other side of the story, except for Tucker Carlson. I think he's done a pretty good job, but still, it's out of control. In my opinion, I just think that the entire thing is out of control. Right
Yeah.
now.
Hey,
That's
you
what
and
I
me
think,
both, Tim, and I appreciate your call, man. Thanks for listening.
And I've been around. I've been around a long time. I'm 89 years old.
Oh, man. Appreciate you, Tim. Thanks so much.
Take care. Bye bye.
Yeah, man. No, I agree with Tim. And programming note, that Tucker Carlson interview with Putin, they're saying, is going to be released on Twitter tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to be watching it. Will you be watching it? Mike in Dixon has a comment on Santos. Mike, would you rather have Santos here so that way we could get that vote?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, you cannot believe how sad I am that he's upset. It just bothers me bad. The guy's a joke.
Well, yeah.
And no, I wouldn't want him there. But here's another issue. Go ahead and impeach my uncles. It doesn't matter because Joe will just pick some other idiot to run the show. So it's a waste of time.
I mean, I get where you're at, but at the same time, at least we're letting these people expose themselves,
I understand that, but Joe hasn't made a decent pick yet, period. From the vice president on down, he has not made an intelligent pick.
Let's be fair, Mike. He did pick the best female vice president we've ever had.
Oh, absolutely. The only one that comes even close to being any good is Blinken, and that's a low standard.
Very low.
But Santos upset. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, I don't care that he's upset. I'm just more looking at it selfishly. Like, I would have rather had that vote.
Well, I would too. I mean, I'd rather have the vote, but I wish somebody else had been putting it there.
Yeah, it just feels like as Republicans, we're constantly shooting ourselves in our own foot.
If Republicans don't get it together, we can't survive 4 more years of Joe or any other Democrat.
No, and we're coming up to something crucial here. And if they make the wrong choice for the head of the RNC, who knows if we're going to get over the hump?
I don't know. I do not know.
Hey, I appreciate your call, Mike. Thanks so much.
Yes,
Let's go to William in White Bluff. You're next on Super Talk. What's up, William?
Hey, how's it going, Chris?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to make a comment about President Trump.
Yes, sir.
He went 4 years in office and didn't draw a paycheck, so let's pay his bills for him.
Hey, listen, he's the only president that ever left the White House with less net worth than he went in.
Exactly. So let's pay his bills for him. Let's get him in office and let him take care of the country like it should be done.
Amen, brother. I'm with you.
All right. That's all I had to say, Chris.
Hey, thanks, William. Appreciate you calling, man. It seems like it's a split audience. Not often do we have such a split down the middle, especially when it comes to Santos. A lot of people are glad that he's gone. A lot of people would rather have him in office for that vote. 6890 texted in, said, "You are correct, Chris. Santos should have been taken care of by the voters of New York instead of our own guys. We have to stop cutting our own throat, That's where I'm at. 0397 said, "I wish they could have just scheduled this vote when Scalise could have been wheeled in to press a button." It's amazing to me, too. And I feel for Scalise. I know he's got health stuff going on. I'm not exactly sure why he was out yesterday, what the exact reason was, but I know he has health stuff going on. But Dianne Feinstein, they dragged her in like days before she died and gave her daughter power of attorney to basically vote for her. It's wild. Absolutely wild. James in Nashville, you're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, James?
Hey, Chris, I got 2 points I wanted to mention to you. One, do you feel that Trump can get Biden on being an agent of China once he gets into office and try him on treason charges?
I mean, whoa, he hung up.
And I'm out.
He had 2 things he said.
Oh, he did? Oh. I wonder if it was service or something.
Or China. Do you think it was China?
China?
So? It may have been. I thought you were going to hit the X-Files music.
That would have been timely as well.
They didn't want him to speak. They silenced him. No, I listen, I don't know. Are they going to get Biden on treason charges? Maybe. I would like to see them get Biden on anything they can get Biden on. Influence peddling, corruption. go down the line. Seriously, throw the book at him. And one of the things about that presidential immunity case where Trump doesn't have immunity, the appeals court ruled, he doesn't have immunity. They say they're going to take it up to the Supreme Court. I think one of those things is, you're going to see the fact that if they set that precedent, well, Biden's not going to have immunity either. Could be fun. Keith and Smyrna, you're next. Real quick, Keith, what's up, man?
Oh, I'm just, I think all this prognosticating about the election is pretty much worthless. I think the Democrats have proven that they can win any election anytime they want. They can manufacture votes out of thin air. They work for the people who build the voting machines and program them. I just have no faith in our election system anymore. Thank you.
Well, I mean, dude, but don't be black-pilled on the whole thing, because if you're just not going to vote, then we're going to lose anyway.
Oh, I'm going to vote, but I heard too many stories about people who printed out their receipt. And by the way, when you go vote, make sure and print your receipt and look at it. Make sure it shows that you voted for the person you voted for.
Yeah, I mean, listen, personally, I'd rather have paper ballots, pen and paper, voter ID, and call it a day. Count it in one day. Let's get the results hours later, not days. And I think that would solve a lot of problems.
I agree.
You can't hack a piece of paper.
True.
You know what I mean? Hey, thanks for the call, Keith.
Yeah.
Frank and Wilson, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, Big Frank?
Yes, sir. I agree with you on Anheuser-Busch, but the lineup for the next election: Trump president, Tim Scott, GOP head of the GOP, Kristi Noem, vice president, that covers the bases, Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, and we can finish the rest of it later.
You had me. I don't know how I feel about Mike Pompeo.
He's smart.
Maybe a little too smart.
Henry Kissinger, look where he put us.
Oh, yeah,
Mike's smarter than he is.
Yeah, I'm no Kissinger fan. Hey, thanks for the call,
No,
Frank.
I ain't either.
Hey, I appreciate you, Frank. We're on the same wavelength, my man. It's 11:53 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Joining me in studio, in for Matt Murphy today, Pamela Furr. Hello, Pamela. There you go.
Man, I haven't been here in so long, I forgot to turn my microphone on.
I could have helped you out there.
Holy smokes. Well, hello.
Hello, how are you?
You look great. As soon as I walked in, I'm like, you got your hair cut.
I did.
Oh, yeah,
Looks
he's looking
really good.
snazzy.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys. Make me blush.
Stop.
Stop. What do you got coming up on the show today, Pam?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I was at the state capitol yesterday all day long, and so I got to witness a lot of things. Of course, school choice is something that I'm certainly happy about, but we'll talk about all of that coming up on the show.
All right, hang out with us. It's Super Talk.